Dr. Robinson, can you speak a little bit about cortisol and how that can interfere with and libido?
Yeah, I always say stress trumps all. So patients will say, "What are my levels? What are my labs?" I show them their testosterone levels for a guy that's super optimal the way we want to see it, but they're stressed to the nines. And if that is the case, what literally happens is that cortisol, I always say it's kind of like the bouncer at the club. You, the party is inside the club. The party's inside the cell. So if the testosterone is floating around in the blood, but it comes up to the cell from a receptor standpoint and it can't get inside, if the door is not open and the testosterone cannot get into where the party is, you won't feel any better. So you could have plenty of testosterone, but what is the bouncer? What blocks the way? Cortisol. So cortisol will literally come up, close the door, and not allow testosterone to get into the cell to make somebody feel better. Whether they're talking about cells in your brain or anywhere in your body, you won't feel as well.
Now,
So
cortisol is generally associated with a stress response. Is
yeah.
there a like level that is measured in a blood test to assess baseline cortisol? Are there people that just have higher levels of cortisol floating around their body, or are we to assume that they just have a more sensitive response to stress or are more stressed out?
Great questions there. Yes, they could just have an overall high amount. Very much so, yes, they could have a receptor site sensitivity to uh, catecholamines in general, adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, all of those, cortisol itself, all of those catecholamines can be hypersensitive at the receptor level for people. So like the littlest thing sets them off because just a little bit of that cortisol or that response could set them off. But generally speaking, if you're asking about a level, when it comes to measuring cortisol levels, I'm not a big fan of serum levels of cortisol. We can check it. There's conditions called Addison's disease, which is a very distinct low level of cortisol. It's a very serious problem. And then there's something called Cushing's disease, which is an excessive amount of cortisol, all of which can be measured pretty accurately in the blood. But those are extreme conditions. But this idea of what maybe you're describing, the person who's just under a lot of stress, they're going to not be Addison's or Cushing's. They won't be this super low or super high amount. They'll be sort of gray in the middle, but it's still a physiological problem for them. So what we do is we don't usually use cortisol in the serum, in the blood, to tell. We use a salivary test for that. So really the gold standard in research anyway is using salivary cortisol. So this is saliva. The patient will spit into 4 different tubes that they will spit throughout the day and into the evening. So it's showing a true circadian rhythm of the up and down of cortisol in a far more accurate way. Plus, if you're stressed out because you're just getting your blood drawn, that will make your cortisol go up just because you like patients say, I hate getting my blood drawn. Well, that will artificially make cortisol go up at the moment in which they draw the blood. But if they're sitting there comfortably in their own home, because that's what we do, we give them the kit, they go home, they pick a particular day where they're not going to be stressed, and they just spit in this tube. Very invasive, uninvasive, so it's easy for them to do, and then the results are far more accurate. So then, if they have high levels, we have ways of helping with that, herbal, hormonal, to be able to help nutritionally, to be able to help with where they might have imbalances in cortisol.